Welcome to the Infinite Life podcast. I'm your host, Katish Haberfield. As a spiritual regression therapist, spirit releasement therapist, and medium, I help my clients to break free of karmic behaviors and limiting beliefs impacting their lives. This free podcast takes you behind the scenes in sessions with my clients as they experience regression sessions and celestial healings, as they access the wisdom of their sub and superconscious mind and witness the unfolding story of their soul. I hope this podcast provides you with inspiration and insights that can be applied to your life. Welcome back to the Infinite Life podcast. And today we are going to do another Spirit Releasement Therapy session. This one was with Vivian. At the time of recording this back in 2022, Vivian was in a 1-month container with me. So she had access to me for 1 month for intensive sessions. Back then I was trialing a concept of doing 2 sessions per week plus messenger access for a month. It was very, very intensive, but it produced some amazing breakthroughs for Vivian. I decided to offer from now on 1-month containers, but with just 1 session a week, as 2 sessions is probably a little too intense for the majority of people. So 1 month is a nice way to get through 4 sessions plus an introductory chat rather than 2 a week. So all of my clients do have access to me via a particular messaging app, depending upon whether they're on Signal or WhatsApp. So I do give them support whilst they're going through the 1-month container. Anyway, you'll hear from Vivian twice in this season, because once there is a spirit releasement session that is linked to a podcast session that we have already shared on the Starseed season. And this session today was one of the sessions that was impromptu. Vivian had sent me a WhatsApp message during the day, and I am allowed to share these sessions from Vivian because it was part of our agreement for the 1-month container. And Vivian has very kindly agreed to share these sessions. And simply the message was that she felt like a fraud. That was the emotion that she was dealing with that day. And I got hold of her. So it was 6 a.m. my time. It was quite late at her time in Spain. And she was dealing with some overwhelming emotions. And I said to her, look, do you want to just get on the phone, get on Zoom right now, and we'll do a session? And she was at her parents' place at the time, and she said, oh, hang on, I'll be back home in an hour. Can you do it then? I said, yeah, that's fine. So at that time, I knew immediately that Vivian's feeling of being a fraud had nothing to do with Vivian. I know Vivian is not a fraud. Vivian is genuine, authentic, and has got great spiritual knowledge, insights, and abilities. So I knew that there was nothing there about her that was fraudster-like. So I knew immediately that screamed spirit attachment for me. So I wanted to do a spirit releasement session straight away to find the source and the originating thoughts that were associated with the I am a fraud and see where that came from. And so that's the beginning of this session. And then we will go into a second releasement in the same session, where we then looked at feelings of despair that were coming up for Vivian. And this was linked to a past life companion. So somebody who was in a lifetime with Vivian, and in that lifetime, they committed suicide. We'd already visited that lifetime, but at that time, I didn't know to check that everybody in the scene had crossed over to the light. That's a skill that I gained much later on. And I was always just predominantly focused on the client. Now, when people come up in scenes in past life regressions, I always check. Even if it's not the client, if something happens to somebody in the scene around us, like your husband dies, your sister dies, your brother dies in the past life regression, I'm always check now to see, has that person crossed to the light? Because if not, then they may be acting as a spirit attachment. And so the second part of this session is about finding out that this past life character, the person who shared a past life with Vivian, who had committed suicide had not gone to the light, and they were still attached to Vivian here now in 2022. And this is important because that's draining your energy. As I said in other episodes, when we have somebody who attaches to us, they attach to us through all time because there's no such thing as time. Time is non-linear. All time, as Einstein said, is happening in the now moment. And so when we think of time as linear, it's not helpful, even though we like to think, yeah, I'm born here, I died here, went up to heaven, came back down, crossed over. It doesn't work like came back down, crossed over, got healing, was born again 45 years later. It doesn't work like that. The soul can shoot you out at any time it likes. Anytime it wants you to have an adventure, you go off. You don't need all previous selves to have crossed over because all now is happening at once. All of your lifetimes are happening at once. So you're everywhere, all everywhere, as the movie goes, everywhere, anything, all at once. You're everywhere all at once. All versions of you are live right now, here in time. So hence it's very easy for an attachment to be what I call in the blueprint of the soul with you in all lifetimes. So that's the important message associated with this session today is not only seeing the impact of two things, a normal spirit attachment, and then secondly, a past life companion attachment, so that we check the stacks of time, so to speak, to filter through and see in any session who hasn't crossed over, whether it's you or another person in the scene who's in that lifetime, their avatar, make sure all parties involved in your lifetime did cross over and go to the light. So, I'd like to thank Vivian once again for sharing this session with us, for the knowledge it brings, and for the great relief that it did bring her. So, if this episode appeals to you, and you have been struggling with feelings of fraud, feeling like you're a fraudster, an imposter, that you're putting it on, that you're making it up, perhaps that you have an attachment, or it could be something happened to you in a past life whereby you were doing something that you weren't ready for, weren't skilled enough for, and you had to jump in to do something before your time was really ready. And that left the eternal resonance of feeling like a fraud on your soul. What we want to do is we want to release those feelings because most situations, nobody is ever ready for what they need to do. You know, if we all waited until we were 100% ready, we'd miss the opportunities in life. We would miss the growth. The growth comes by jumping into a situation when you're not ready. So if this resonates with you, then please head to katish.com and book your sessions with me. Thanks again for listening to the podcast. I really appreciate it, and I hope it provides you with some insight in your life today. Namaste. Now we're going to invite your spirit guides to help us in this session. And you can do that now by sending out that invitation and saying inside your mind, I ask for my spirit guides to come and assist me now. And let them know that we're here to ask for their guidance, protection, and assistance. Because you are ready to help these souls cross over so that you can be free from feeling like a fraud. So Vivian, you can hear me and you can talk to me. I want you to reach your hand out and find the spirit guide and tell me how their hand feels. Warm. And which spirit guide is it, please? Spirit guide, may you make yourself known to Vivian. This is Feather. Hi, Feather. Thanks for coming today. It's short notice. Not short notice to you because you knew it was going to happen. Feather. We are here today to help these two spirits who are lost. One who has been traipsing around feeling like a fraud. Would you please bring her forward now?
Yeah, she's here.
Beautiful. And hello, darling. Thank you for coming today. What's your name? How should we call you today?
I hear Faye or something like that.
Faith? Is it okay if we call you Faith?
Yes.
Faith, darling, what year is it?
I see 1200s, maybe.
And Faith, are you lost?
Yeah.
What's happened to you, darling? What's the last thing that you remember?
An accident.
What were you doing?
I, I see weapons. Axe. Bite.
Faith, are you willing to take us back in time to your last day so that we can understand and witness your story? Are you willing to take Vivian back to that lifetime?
Yeah.
Yes. Vivian, can you let me know when you have arrived?
Yes, I think we're here.
Okay. All right. So Faith and Vivian, I'm going to refer to you as Faith for now so that Vivian, you can witness Faith's life. Now, Faith, what's happening, darling? I want you to tell the story of your last day.
I see a dusty street. It was like a
A sandstorm? Yep. Where are you living and how old are you? What part of the world?
serious.
And how old are you, darling?
16.
16. And why do you feel like a fraud?
I wasn't supposed to be there
Wasn't supposed to be where?
in the sandstorm.
Okay. What's in the sandstorm?
There's a lot of confusion. I wanted to help. But people were running. And screaming, and there was a fight. Yeah. I shouldn't have been there. I made things worse.
Oh. How did you make things worse?
It's it's confusing. I just feel a lot of people and like a lot of confusion.
Do you know what the fights were about?
There were 2 tribes. There were enemies. I I gave them away. I gave them away, but it was an accident.
So you gave away the hiding location of
They
the good
find
tribe.
out. Yes, they found out where we were. It was because of me.
And was your father or mother in with the tribe? Is that why you were there? Were you trying to find them and you ended up with them accidentally, or are you by yourself at this stage in your life? Why are you looking for these tribes?
They were an orphan.
Often, did you pretend to be older than you are to get into the warrior?
I was helping. I was serving. I was a servant. I had to. I had to survive. I I was where I wasn't supposed to be, but it was an accident. It wasn't on purpose.
And why specifically does that make you feel like a fraud, though?
I said I was who I wasn't.
And who did you say you were?
I said I knew things.
What kind of
I
things?
I knew how to do things. I knew how to. I knew how to. The weapons.
Something to do with cleaning and sharpening them or storing them or
Yes, keeping them. Keeping them safe.
but really you didn't know anything about that.
No.
And you did that just to survive, right?
Yes.
And did you learn how to do that quickly?
I saw how other people were doing it, but I didn't. I wasn't sure. No, I.
And at the time that this fight broke out, how was it that you accidentally alerted the other tribe to your location? Did you venture? What's the role of this sandstone room? Were you out for a walk and following a curiosity and then you accidentally came across the enemy?
I was followed.
You were followed?
Yes, I came to fetch water.
Seemingly
I,
innocent,
I,
isn't
I
it?
was followed.
Yeah. So you came to fetch water, but you were followed by the enemy. And did they capture you or did they harm you before they got to the tribe, or were they just like, spying on you to see where you went back to?
Now they followed me, but I, I didn't know they were following me. And when we returned, they assaulted us, and everybody thought that I was with them. everybody thought that I had called them.
Oh. And so, did you die because your own tribe killed you or because the enemy tribe killed you?
It was my own tribe.
So, darling, you've already been killed, but it's 2022 now. It's a very long time later. So, you haven't crossed over. So, I just want you to go to that very last moment where you remember being killed by your own tribe. You're not going to feel it, you've already died. But I just want you to get to that last moment because you missed as you were dying. There should have been a beautiful light and some angels or a rainbow there to help you cross over, to take you back to God's world so you could receive healing for this experience. Can you see now that light?
Yes.
Yes. Are you ready to go follow that light now?
Yes, but I want them to know that it wasn't me.
So what will happen, darling, is that as soon as you cross over, that knowledge becomes public in the heavenly realms. They already know that and they're already waiting to speak with you to let you know that everything is okay and that they know it's not you. Okay? There is nothing to forgive because they have already searched their mind stream up in heaven because they crossed a long time ago and they've been waiting for you to tell you that it's okay, that they already know. But you can only understand this when you're in heaven. Do you trust me?
Yes.
So I want you to reach out. There should be an angel, even feather may be able to take you. And I want you to float up high across the bridge. And we wish you Godspeed. We wish you well. And we want you to know nothing was your fault. Okay? You did what you did to need to learn to survive. And there's no fear or shame in that, okay? You're not a fraud. You're just a young girl who is trying to live, okay? Trying to be of service and trying to be helpful to other people.
Yeah.
Okay? So please say your goodbye to Vivian.
Goodbye.
Okay, and off you go. We'll see you on the other side. You all right?
Yes.
Has she crossed over now?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. Well done, Vivian. What I want you to do is we're going to float back up on high now. We're going to go back up to the temple to receive some learnings and healings from that lifetime now that she has crossed over. Just want you to reach out your hand and find the nearest angel. I want you to float back up high. And when you get back to that same spot where we were before, I want you to find this special resting place and let me know when you. Beautiful. All right. Now we are back in a very special place. I want you to look around and see which guide is there. Is it still Feather with you, or is there somebody else?
I think this is
Sky. Hi, Sky. Thank you for coming. Sky, we've just crossed over Faith, who was Vivian from another lifetime in the 1200s. I was wondering if you have any advice or wisdom for Vivian to help her overcome the feeling that she had in that lifetime of being a fraud.
there is nothing to fear when you speak your truth.
And would you like Vivian to receive any healing now, or do we need to cross the other soul over first?
Maybe I'll cross the other soul.
So, Sky, could you please bring in Vivian's dad of the lifetime when she was a little boy in Scotland and her dad was the alcoholic who committed suicide? Could you please bring him in?
Yes.
He's here?
Yeah.
Can you feel him, Vivian?
Yes.
Hello, dear one. Can you please let us know your name and thank you for coming today, or how you would like us to refer to you? James? Hi, James. Now, James, what year is it for you, darling?
1800s.
Okay. Now, James, it's actually 2022 today. Did you realize that?
No.
Oh, it's been a long time, hasn't it?
Yes.
Did you realize that you had died? Did you realize that you took your own life?
I don't know. I wanted to.
Well, why did you want to end your life, darling?
Because I was no good.
Why were you no good?
I was foolish. I made my wife suffer. I lost all my money. We could never be happy again.
And James, that's all human perception, but I was just wondering, are you willing to take us back to witness your story today so that we can give you healing and help you cross over? Are you willing to
Yes.
help Vivian?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to play the bowls, and we're going to take you back in time to the moment before you decide to die. And don't worry, it's not going to hurt you. You've already died, okay? So we're just helping witness your story and your grief and your shame so that we can release it and we can get you healing, all right? Sky? If you could help us to take Vivian and James back to the 1800s. Back to that moment in time where James decides that there's no way out and that his family is better off without him. Vivian and James, can you let me know when you've arrived?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, now Vivian, this is James's story, not yours. It's your story in that this is your dad that you're now witnessing, okay? But I want you to let James tell the story through you. And James, I want you to take us to that moment where you decide that your family is better off without you, because we want to reframe and make you understand that was not the case. So please let us know what's happening. Is it nighttime or daytime?
It's nighttime.
And are you in the bedroom or you're by the fire drinking? What's happening for you, darling?
I was drinking by the fire.
And what are the thoughts that are going through your head right now?
We had just had supper, and I saw the fear in my boy's eyes. He was afraid of me.
How did that make you
I
feel?
I realized that he was right to be afraid of me. It was a danger to be around. I lost my temper. But I couldn't help it. I couldn't control it. And I didn't want to. He was stronger than me. And I felt like a monster. I decided to free them from me.
And how did you manage to go about doing that? Did you just drink too much, or did you take some tablets or use your shotgun? How did you?
I left the house. I continued drinking. And then I drowned.
That's what I thought. You went into the cold water, right?
Yes,
In the river, is that right?
yes,
You just walked straight into the river, right?
yes.
All right. Now, what I want you to see and to look around as you're in that process of being in the river is that there should have appeared a bright light, a very bright light, like it was a star to begin with that was beckoning or calling you. Looking back, can you see where that is?
Yes.
Can you see how you missed that? Was that because you were in shock that you did it, or how did you miss it?
I regretted having done that.
Okay.
I wished I wouldn't have done it. I didn't want to go.
What I want you to do, darling, is are you ready to cross over? Are you ready to go receive healing? Because what happens when you decide to cross over is that you're going to free your son. Your little boy is still grieving for you. And when you're actually able to go to heaven, the part of the grief that is inside him presently in 2022 will be free. And you'll also be able to free the future version of yourself, who Vivian is acquainted very well with. So you're not only freeing yourself, but you're freeing two other souls who are currently incarnate on Earth. Do you see the benefit in this?
Yeah. I feel so ashamed.
You feel so ashamed. Now, I want you to let me know what you wish to impart or say to your future self and also to your son of the time. If you could speak to them right now, what would you say to them, darling?
I just want them to know that I am sorry. I am so sorry. I wish I could have done it better. I didn't want to harm them. I wanted to. I wanted them to be free. That's why I did what I did. I wanted them to be free. I'm so sorry for my choices. I want them to be happy.
Okay. We have received those messages and those messages will be passed on. I want you to understand also that there's nothing to forgive because this is what happens. We have a spiritual journey and there are lessons to be learned. So once you go up to heaven, you will be able to receive those lessons and receive healing. And we will be able to access, Vivian will be able to access understanding and healing through her angels as to why you were both put in this situation. Okay, darling? So don't worry. Vivian is the name of your little boy in the future. Vivian will be able to gain insight, but you have to cross over first so that she can gain that insight into what the spiritual purpose of this journey was. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
And then you will also gain spiritual insight into the purpose of this journey. So we're going to ask you to look again for that bright star, bright light. Locate it again, darling.
Yes.
All you need to do is reach out your hand and the angel will come and get you. Can you feel the angel now? Okay, beautiful boy. Off you go and Godspeed. We shall meet again on the other side and may you receive wonderful healing. Vivian, has he crossed over now?
Yes. Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, thank you. I'm just going to... Can you just simply reach out and grab the angel and be taken back to your space without the sing bells, or did you play the sing bells?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just want you to go back up higher, feeling higher and higher, brighter and brighter, lighter and lighter. And when you find your resting place, just go to that resting place. Let me know when you're there.
Yes.
Okay. We're calling in your next guide to help us with the wisdom for why you and James of the 1800s were placed in that situation. What is the spiritual wisdom that you can access now that your father has crossed over? What did you need to learn about having that experience happen to you?
Forgiveness is what comes to mind.
And did your spirit guide want to let you know, or is it private, what James's spiritual lesson for that lifetime was?
Yes. What he needed to learn to be true to himself.
Okay, beautiful. Now, which spirit guide are we talking to?
To
Sky. Okay, Sky, could you please let me know if there's any healing that you would now like to give Vivian?
yes,
Okay. Will you do it in the location that she's at, or do you need to take her somewhere?
in this location.
Okay, perfect. I'll be quiet while you conduct that healing. So, Vivian, just be open and willing to receive the healing, please. What kind of healing are you experiencing, Vivian?
I'm receiving a lot of light. Um, light codes as well.
Beautiful. Okay, absorb the light codes.
Yeah, I think we're done.
Okay. Could we ask somebody to step away from the screen, please? Okay, Viv. Does Sky have anything else to say to you right now?
I hear remember love.
Remember love? Anything else?
Use the eyes of
And does Sky want us to do anything else this evening, given it's very late?
no.
Okay. All right, Vivian. So I'm going to ask you to drift away, float away right now. And we thank Sky, your higher self, and all of your soul counterparts who were with you today. And as you float and drift away, you feel great peace and confidence, knowing that you have helped a soul counterpart and also another soul member to reach the light. You have learnt lessons of forgiveness, lessons of love. You've learnt lessons of being able to be true to yourself, and also that you are never a fraud. We are always simply experiencing a human lifetime and doing the best that we know how to, moment by moment, to survive. There is never anything to forgive. Look at the spiritual lessons.